So, about a year ago, some dude made a video and included clips from one of my videos and criticized some things I said. I subsequently responded to those claims. A few months later, another dude popped up, this time a tick suckling on the sack of the first dude, only this mofo went absolutely batshit insane and made a 2.5-hour video on my response. And if you don't believe me that this person is nuttier than squirrel shit, this is a comment he left for me.
Birdman, your video is fucking terrible, and I'm baffled you are this inept at defending your own points. You've backtracked your own arguments twice and acted like Madvocate was the idiot because you needed to redraft your scripts. Trash-ass video is an ironic description to use here considering the sheer lack of effort you put into making this. Not just from an argument standpoint, but also a production one. I'd ask you to do better, but considering your entire channel's identity is to be the anti-CinemaSins, I fucking doubt you possess the ability to improve. I get defending yourself and countering points you think are unfair, but the fact you exceeded my expectations on what I can consider stupid points while radiating smug like you put a stick of plutonium in your shorts easily makes this one of the worst videos I've ever seen. You are an embarrassing waste of protons, and I hope you drink orange juice after forgetting to brush your teeth.
I'm sure he meant, I hope you drink orange juice after you forgot you brushed your teeth. Forgive these people. They're mentally ill. Now, it took everything I had in me to not crush this guy. He only had something like 300 subscribers, and I am not a bully. Had something similar happen before, and I never felt right about it. However, as you heard from the comment he made on me, he very clearly deserved my ire. I still refrained, never even clicked the video. That is, until last night. I have someone, not naming names, that keeps pestering me about this guy's video, so out of curiosity, I went to the comment section, and holy hell, what an absolute cesspit. From people calling me a stupid duty head to former subscribers upset that I debated them too hard, this comment section is an absolute armpit in Floridian humidity. That made me think this video had to be as dumb as a squirrel attacking a bird, and lo and behold. This video is long. Nearly 2.5 hours, because the Mauler wannabes think that this is the best way to approach a topic, but like way, way worse. You know, filled with unfunny jokes, mindless rants, out of context clips from movies and TV shows, and elevator music. Strangely, this dumbass equates quality with posting movie clips, badly cropped floating heads, and TV clips that say mean things with production quality of a video. He believes that because I sat at my desk doing a reaction video to Madvocate, that my video wasn't produced well, which is a strange thing to say considering it was a reaction video. Again, these fat sacks of ectoplasm think that a video being 5 hours long and filled with the same movie reaction clips is how I should have produced my reaction video. Of course, the only thing that matters is the content of a video, not how pretty a video is. This is why a lot of smaller YouTubers fail, because they think making things as bloated as they can be should equate to views and popularity, and that's just not how it works. And the irony is that this motherfucker's recording in probably the worst environment he can, so his mic sounds like shit for over 2 hours. This means not every single line from this guy will be in this video, as a lot of it is him rambling and insulting me, which, while fun, makes this video longer than it should be. I only feel like doing about the first 37 minutes or so. Again, this is a 2-hour, 20-minute video bitching about me. Apologies for the terrible audio quality from this creator. Let's keep in mind they are small and likely cannot afford a quality mic setup, and is probably recording this with a spoon.
I'm not very happy.
Greetings everyone, long time no see.
Skip!
So it seems at least those people are doing alright, and they do not at all appear to be in the middle of a stupid and unnecessary feud with a narcissistic, hypocritic, gatekeeping, puts the milk before the cereal, leech from the YouTube sphere who exclusively goes after low-hanging fruit in an attempt to make himself more intelligent than a lemming in heat. Right?
No.
Meet the Birdman.
Quite a few things wrong with this. I mean, well, all of it is wrong. The only reason these people refer to me as a narcissist is because I dare to defend myself from unwarranted and unprovoked attacks. Apparently, I should back down whenever they have a quote-unquote objective point about me. That I don't lie down and take it seems to be their issue, and they especially hate it when I respond in a witty manner. It might also have something to do with my size as a creator. I've seen these people refer to my subscriber count and say such not like me at all quips like, he thinks he's right because he's bigger. I literally fact-check a channel with 9 million subscribers, guys. Hypocritical. I'd be interested in seeing actual evidence for this claim. Hopefully there will be some in this video. We shall see. Gatekeeping? Like, what? I'd like to point out that you're saying this in reference to my video on Madvocate and a follow-up video on Doctor Strange where I don't remember gatekeeping literally anything. You know, because I'm not a gatekeeper. If you know anything about me, one thing I am is extremely welcoming and helpful when talking about a particular community that I'm a part of. People ask me for comic recommendations all the time. They ask me how to build PCs and even what mics they should use for their content, which is something I'd be happy to help you with, Shandy. I have given out thousands of dollars worth of advice and equipment for free, and I have been adamant about spreading knowledge to those that ask for it. But I'm sure you will have an example of me being a gatekeeper in this video. We shall see. Milk before the cereal, huh? Well, I don't even need to refute this. Just watch my John Wick 1 video where I explicitly made fun of people for doing that specific thing. Unless, of course, this was a joke, but being that it was in a group of other things you definitely believe, I'm not really willing to give you the benefit of the doubt here. As for me being a leech, well, I suppose that has a bit of truth to it. I only take umbrage with another YouTuber saying this. Unless a creator is a woodworker or something of the sort, every YouTuber is using someone's content. Streamers are playing the video game industry's games, we talk about movies, and then there are the myriad react channels that do very well, like Abba and Preach. Suggesting I leech off of CinemaSins absolves CinemaSins of being a leech on the film industry. Almost without exception, the footage used in a CinemaSins video is 100% from movie studios, given that Jeremy only provides a voiceover. This also calls into question the video you made on me. You are leeching off of me, and it has had a tangible effect. Last time I checked your channel, you weren't even eligible for monetization, and that might be due to the fact that you do such amazing work like saying Spider-Man 2 sucks and that Spider-Man 3 is good. Yeah, I'm gonna say your credibility is at least questionable. But the video you did on me is your biggest one. Welcome to the YouTube Partner Program. You're welcome, by the way. And finally, new rule, with regard to me going exclusively for low-hanging fruit, the fact that I went after your boy and am now addressing you is kind of damning, isn't it? I mean, I agree that you and Madvocate are low-hanging fruit, but you didn't have to say the quiet part out loud. In any case, I created a series. That's what people come to me to see. Unlike you people, I stay in my lane. I don't think that I am smarter than those that create films because otherwise, I'd be doing that. It's incredibly easy to do what you do.
Spider-Man 2 is a dumby-bumby movie because blah, blah, blah. Spider-Man 3 is better because I'm trying to generate hate clicks, blah, blah, blah.
Anyway, let's continue.
A few sentences ago, I mentioned how Madvocate had made a No Way Home video, which is currently doing very well, and rightfully so. It's an amazing piece of content with editing and style so engaging that you may even feel compelled to subscribe to his channel despite thinking he makes terrible points. What I failed to mention was that during this review, Madvocate responded to a few points made by Birdman in his CinemaSins video on No Way Home. The reason why Madvocate did this is because it served the purpose of preemptively countering potential defenses made against his points for this movie. It was a if even one person makes this point then it's likely more people will type thing, and considering how popular Birdman's channel is and how many views it gets on average, I think this was a safe call to make.
I very much disagree with your reasoning here. Madvocate's mentions of me were not in the spirit of refuting potential criticisms of his work. In addition to his reactions and comments towards those sections of my video being extremely hostile and dismissive, a commenter admitted that they forwarded my video to Madvocate, meaning the goal of including me was specifically to debunk me in particular. I'd never heard of this creator and we had never interacted. The hostile singling me out when there are plenty of other YouTubers bigger than me that may echo my sentiments, especially with the added context that this cringelord sent them my work specifically to be addressed, and the fact that he could have made the same points without me being in the video at all, means your reasoning is flawed at best.
All in all, I think we can consider this to be a relatively harmless act, especially since Birdman was not a large aspect of this video, right?
And we are already happening upon the blatant bias you hold. A relatively harmless act? Let's ignore for the moment the absolute wave of mindless bots Madvocate sent my way by including me in a video that had nothing to do with me. Let's take a listen to something Madvocate said about me in that video.
What the fuck is this defense? Think, Birdman.
When Peter gets serious, this guy can defeat the likes of Firelord, a herald of Galactus.
And that is where I will stop taking Birdman seriously.
What am I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe. That sure sounds like someone that's using my video to ward off potential criticisms of his video, huh? As for the toxicity that came my way after his video's release, of course you cannot exactly control what your audience does. However, given the hostile nature of his response to me, he didn't exactly do anything to mitigate it, nor did I see any, hey guys, don't go harass this dude that I'm picking a bone with arbitrarily. With all the mentions you guys do about my size, I think you all think this is punching up and okay. I mean, the immediate dog pile was insane, and along with being sent the link to the video, it's precisely why I decided to respond in the first place.
I woke up on a Monday morning, getting ready to go to work, and a friend made me aware of this video's existence through Discord. I thought it was interesting as a concept that you chose to directly respond to what he said, so I decided to check it out on the way to work. And let me tell you, that might have been the angriest bus ride I have ever had.
Well, I find that hard to believe. Given your insane rant in the comment section, I'm going to assume you get upset about pretty much anything. Might I suggest a Xanax?
Now, this person's video is not really about me, but they bring me up multiple times.
3 times. He brought you up 3 times.
So, multiple.
And he didn't even really mention you as an individual, but rather the things you say in your response to CinemaSins.
What the fuck is this defense? Think, Birdman. And that is where I will stop taking Birdman seriously.
So, to me as an individual.
Just a bit of a disclaimer here. This person comes across as a person who dislikes the MCU in its current state, or maybe just dislikes this movie. I don't know shit about this person. All I know is they said some shit about me, and you know how we feel about that around here.
Yeah, I understand your perspective. Madvocate does appear to be a bit cynical with his judgment of one other MCU movie besides No Way Home, as well as one episode of a TV show in a phase of Marvel which at this point has had 4 films and 5 TV shows, but hey, I guess you at best made an educated guess. Points for effort.
Here's the thing. I make a lot of videos on a variety of topics, and one of those is the MCU, given that I'm at least partially a film YouTuber, and the MCU is the largest film series in history. It's kind of hard to miss, which means I have to talk about it. In doing that, I have encountered patterns with how people on the internet discuss certain films, and especially the MCU. As of October 2023, the loud minority that dislikes the MCU on the internet absolutely love to dissect aspects of the MCU. After encountering this over and over and over and over, it becomes one of those, oh my god, here's another one of these dudes telling us how bad the thing he doesn't even have to watch is. Unless you like that type of content, in which case you'd have a similar reaction to my work, where it appears that I am defending the MCU. And given that I'd never heard of this person and was seeing their work for the first time, this is why I said, comes across, and maybe. However, given the fact that the video was not at all about how Madvocate views the MCU, or No Way Home for that matter, I believe there is no way you will harp on this infinitesimally small quip that I made before watching the rest of the video, right? Right?
And yeah, I would have no way of knowing if he liked this movie or not. I wonder how far I would need to...
I really did.
Oh. It took him 10 seconds to make it clear he liked this film. You couldn't even be bothered to watch the first 10 seconds of the video. Are you telling me you had such little time in your day that you were too busy to watch the first minute of something you were discussing, let alone the first 10 seconds?
As I explained in the comment section of my video, someone sent me the video, showed me a part where Mads mentioned me, and then I decided to get in the chair and hit record.
So unless you were given timestamps for where your segments were in this video, then that would mean you would have needed to watch at least some of this video in order to know where you were located, which makes the fact you didn't see the first 10 seconds even more questionable.
Yes, exactly. As you can see, my video is clearly edited. It is not a live stream where things are happening in real time. In fact, following the moment you paused on me saying how he came across, there was an immediate jump cut where I have his video queued up at the section I was responding to, which means I got to a certain point and used that section for this part of the video. And for the record, Madvocate could meet me in person and tell me with his chest that he liked No Way Home. A, it wouldn't mean anything for the context of the video, and B, I don't just believe what people say, especially in the realm of film criticism where dishonesty and grifting run rampant. Nerdrotic will tell you he's not a flaming racist, and yet his behavior suggests otherwise. I would need a track record of behavior on a person before I begin taking them at their word. As stated earlier, I don't know this guy. As you mentioned, he only had a few pieces on the MCU. Perhaps he was jumping on the let's critique the MCU for money train. From my perspective, that's just how it came across, but it wasn't at all important for the video I made in response. So let's move it along, shall we?
Wait, was that it? You didn't justify why Magic should have hardline rules, nor how you would implement them in any reasonable way.
Of course you said this, ignoring the fact that there's an entire origin film which establishes rules regarding sorcery and how it is supposed to be used. It isn't actually Madvocate's job to give you a guideline on how these rules are to be implemented. That's the movie's job. Pointing out inconsistencies in a film's established rules in writing isn't advocating for hardline rules either. Soft magic systems exist and are found in a lot of other popular pieces of media, which are then capable of being explored and expanded to varying degrees of success.
Do you not notice that we are in agreement here? I mean, you literally played me saying that Madvocate didn't explain why something should have hardline rules and simply reiterated that soft magic exists. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we can all agree that the MCU implements a soft magic system where the supernatural elements are flexible and often don't have explanations at all. And that was ultimately my point. The rules don't have to be hard. And even if you did have a hard magic system, they could also be nitpicked the way in which Madvocate nitpicks WandaVision, because magic isn't real. There will always be a suspension of disbelief required, and my point is that even hard magic systems will have holes. Moreover, I'm quite literally arguing in defense of a soft magic system, something you seem to be okay with. What I'm wondering is, why would you people strawman my argument and suggest that I've ever said magic doesn't have or need rules at all? I've only ever said that trying to pin down rules is a waste of time because every single magic system that exists can be nitpicked because the supernatural doesn't exist. You have to suspend your disbelief at some point, so why not do that with a soft magic system?
Madvocate can have suggestions on how he thinks magic should be implemented, but it doesn't take a genius to point out when there's a problem with how your magic works.
And here's where we fundamentally disagree. When you say there is a problem with how your magic works, what you are actually saying is that it doesn't work in the context of the film. Because again, there will always be a problem with how magic works. Seriously, name your favorite magic system and I'll poke holes in it. Fortunately, we have what you consider a good magic system. The fucking Fairly Odd Parents. I want whoever is watching this to actually read Shandy's response here. The person he's responding to is presenting the Fairly Odd Parents as an example of rules in a magic system, yet he responds that the show is about subverting those rules. This means that the entire concept of the Fairly Odd Parents is that the rules have the potential to be undermined. In other words, there are holes, and just like the MCU, the writers might break their rules or try to figure a way around them for the sake of a plot. The Fairly Odd Parents is infamous for making things up as they go, and yet you find this to be a fantastic example? Of what exactly? Because the person you're responding to is saying, I said magic doesn't have or need rules at all, and you played me saying it doesn't need hard rules, something you agree with.
You didn't justify why magic should have hardline rules, nor how you would implement them in any reasonable way.
Soft magic systems exist and are found in a lot of other popular pieces of media, which are then capable of being explored and expanded to varying degrees of success.
But back to why I disagree. Saying there's a problem with how your magic works is you saying the movie's magic didn't work in the context of the film. This simply isn't true for any MCU film. The vast majority of people watch these movies and understand them just fine. It isn't until some YouTuber tells them they're wrong for liking a thing that they begin to have a problem. What people like you don't seem to understand is that movies are not made with nitpickers in mind. They have to get across certain concepts in a limited amount of time, and even the most well-written film will have concessions where nitpickers like you and Madvocate and a host of all you other clones will point at and call something bad. This is one of the problems I have with CinemaSins, that they pass off nitpicking as a legitimate form of critique when a film isn't trying to answer every little question they may have. Because if they were, they would have. And then he goes on a long, irrelevant tangent about magic in video games, attacking the straw man that I said magic doesn't need rules. What I actually said is that magic couldn't adhere to rules because it is not real. I'm clearly speaking from the perspective of the audience. In universe, there are clearly rules. I think we all can agree that in Pokemon, Squirtle's ability to shoot an amount of water that is obviously beyond the volume of its body from its mouth is mystical in nature. In the MCU, Doctor Strange can't shoot water from his mouth in the same way Squirtle can. At least I hope not. That's clearly a limitation on his ability in universe, aka a rule. But when you think about it from the perspective of the audience, why can't Strange do that? He has magic, right? Why can he not summon water from his mouth? Do you see my point? When talking about magic, anything, theoretically, should be on the table because it's magic and that's what magic means. The limitation placed on him by whoever is writing him is entirely arbitrary, and that's what I've been saying this whole time. Rules on magic are arbitrary and are only there to serve the plot. Trying to nitpick them is an exercise in futility and a waste of time. Look how much of a waste we spent on this, and there's 2 more hours to go.
Here's one simple rule from Doctor Strange. You need a sling ring to open a portal. If you don't have one, then you must either possess the innate ability to teleport, or you have access to an object of power which allows you to cross space and time. If you were somehow able to open up one of these portals without a sling ring, then do you know what you are doing to the established rules? You are breaking them.
Or they are introducing a new rule. Sling rings aren't required to open a portal. They might make it easier. Clearly, that would be an example of fleshing out the portals and adding context and flavor. This is the problem with how you people consume media. You think that things are fixed and should be fixed, and that anything that differs from that thing is breaking that thing. This rigidity can be fixed by removing the stick from your ass.
However, another rule that was explicitly stated as a requirement to use the spell was that you needed to paint a picture of where you wanted to go in your mind before you could access that location. This was, again, another foundational rule on how to use the sling ring. But, unfortunately, this foundational rule was broken, and you don't think that's a problem. Magic is fictional, sure.
So you don't actually explain how this so-called rule is broken. You show Ned on screen trying to create a portal, and I guess that's you trying to give us an example of how it breaks this rule? For those of you living under a rock, Ned opens a portal in No Way Home that brings 2 different Spider-Men into his home. In that scene, we see the portal opens because he wishes he could see Peter. And since there were 3 Peters that were Spider-Man in that universe, the portal opens up to find Peter 3 and then later Peter 2. What I am assuming this nutty squirrel is saying is that Ned didn't imagine the alley that Peter 3 was in, therefore the so-called rule that has to paint a picture of where he wanted to go is being broken. Except, of course, Doctor Strange himself has broken this so-called rule twice, years before No Way Home came out. In Thor Ragnarok, Strange uses a portal to summon Loki into another dimension and then later into the Sanctum Sanctorum. Given that they had just arrived on Earth and we are given 0 context of how he even knows where they are, this is precisely the same thing Ned does in No Way Home. I remind you that this is Strange's 2nd canonical appearance in the MCU, directly after his movie where this so-called rule was established. The second time he does this is in Infinity War, where he uses the portal to find Tony Stark when he was on a walk with Pepper. Unless you want to suggest that Doctor Strange has a Harry Potter-esque Marauders map with every Avenger's whereabouts on it, he very clearly mentally asked the portal to locate Tony Stark, who was at Central Park, about 3 miles away from Bleecker Street. This means the fact that the portal can locate people has been established at least 4 years before No Way Home came out. Now, you might suggest that, well then, Thor Ragnarok broke the rule, in which case I have 2 questions. 1. Why didn't Shandy instead use footage from Thor Ragnarok to make that point? The answer is clearly that these people have a bone to pick with No Way Home specifically and didn't do the actual legwork required to know that this ability had already been established, so they didn't know about this. To me, That makes you unqualified to talk about this topic. And my second question is, do you remember what I said about new rules? Perhaps that was Thor Ragnarok establishing an ability of the portals that the first Doctor Strange movie didn't have time to... Oh, wait. The end credit scene of Doctor Strange is actually from Thor Ragnarok, meaning these things were written and filmed at the same time. So I guess the film Doctor Strange broke the rules established in the film Doctor Strange.
Any rules you place on magic is due to the writers, which contradicts your argument against writers using magic how they see fit. I mean, like, do you not hear yourself? Writers implementing rules is writers using magic how they see fit. Take J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter universe for just a quick second. At first, the rule was Accio, the summoning charm, doesn't work on living creatures. This rule was later broken a few times, but the point is there was a rule.
Ooh, what's going on there, bird boy? You look a little bit annoyed, a smidge ruffled that the rule was broken in favor of progressing the story.
I'm interested in where this where this goes.
Why was there a rule? It served a narrative purpose. For example, if it did work on living creatures, Voldemort could just summon Harry and kill him right then and there. But it makes no sense for it not to work on living creatures because it's magic.
Ooh, you were this close to realizing the problem with breaking continuity. By allowing the spell to summon forth living creatures, you then create holes in your film for later aspects of the series. Which is a problem, Birdman.
And of course, the Nimrod completely misses the point that was being made. First of all, this is a blatant straw man. I never say that breaking continuity never happens, nor did I say it's not a bad thing. I mean, you very clearly show me annoyed at an instance of it happening. Again, my point was that rules are arbitrary and that writers placing rules on the supernatural is silly in the first place, which makes nitpicking them even sillier and a waste of time. Obviously, my issue is with the nitpicking of magic and demanding it to have hard rule sets when that isn't necessary for a story to function, as you and I have already agreed. You are painting a picture that I don't think magic needs rules at all, and that I think breaking internal logic is okay. This is a fucking lie. But the point that flew completely over your head is that I am saying Accio should work on living creatures because, well, why shouldn't it? What physics or metaphysics causes it to not work on living beings that allows it to work on non-living objects? Isn't a tree a living thing? Why does it work on a broomstick that's made out of wood? If because the wood is now dead, does that mean Accio can work on a dead body? What's the difference, and why does that magic not work in that way? Why didn't J.K. Rowling explain this? Why don't the movies ever explain this or address it at all? Why don't they pin down a hard-line rule? Let me let you in on a little secret. I'm playing devil's advocate. What I'm trying to illustrate here is the ability for anyone to nitpick an established rule, something I'm saying can be done on all rules that are explicitly stated in a piece of fiction. It wasn't about the fact that the rule was later broken. The part where I show annoyance at a rule being broken is a long-form joke from my 5-year-old Fantastic Beasts video where Jeremy asks, why doesn't Newt just use Accio on the Niffler? And I explained that you cannot use Accio on living creatures, a rule J.K. Rowling establishes herself, only for Newt to do exactly that in the next Fantastic Beasts film, completely invalidating my and J.K. Rowling's explanation.
You are highlighting an issue, you klutz. And before you say some stupid bullshit about this serving a narrative purpose, allow me to bring your attention to something. J.K. Rowling herself is aware of her mistakes and acknowledges them all the time, since fans of her books would outline them to her in letters and interviews.
And as I just explained, that entire spiel was a straw man. Let's move on.
Besides the narrative reason of it would mean either the good guys or the bad guys will always win, you have to understand that limitations are often put on spells to give them a realistic or at least semi-realistic element to make them more believable.
So it serves a narrative purpose. You're quite literally reiterating my point back at me here. Limitations are placed on magic to serve a narrative function, and a fundamental part of a narrative is believability. Why do you think you are saying anything different than I am?
Inanimate objects have no will of their own. They cannot give consent, they cannot scream or shout or let it all out, and they cannot move away from you when you pick them up. This means that realistically speaking, you should be able to pick up a spoon without any issue. Translate that to magic and you have the same principle, only this time it's more convenient.
That is just awful low IQ logic. Because inanimate objects have no free will, it makes sense for you to be able to pick them up with magic? Well, then what the fuck is Ermac doing here? See, when I was playing devil's advocate questioning Accio, I was illustrating a point. How many pieces of fiction do I have to show you where a magic practitioner is manipulating a living being with magic? Because if I listed even 1%, it would take longer than your video. That is a fact. And that's my point. In nearly all other pieces of media that feature magic, you can summon living beings with magic. And the only reason it was impossible in the Harry Potter franchise was that it could potentially break that specific narrative. And the rule served to preserve that narrative. Now, I'm sick of talking about magic, and I'm sure you are all tired of listening to it. Let's fast forward past the fluff and get to the other stuff.
Strange rewinds time and puts himself in a time loop because there is literally no other choice. The dark dimension is eating the planet. He's on a time limit. This isn't a mistake or questionable decision. It's the only decision there is if he doesn't want the world to perish.
The point isn't that it wasn't his best option. The point is that his action had a consequence.
Meanwhile,
they are a part of the plot and characterization of these characters. Strange has literally been characterized as a person who constantly makes mistakes with magic.
No, Birdman, I think you misunderstood the point you made in your own video. Based on what you are saying here, you are implying that Strange's choice to use the Time Stone to defeat Dormammu was a mistake, because it led to Mordo becoming a villain. When, as Madvika points out, it was his only option. Your phrasing of this point directly contradicts your clarification of saying that Strange's choice only led to him facing a consequence. Unless you truly believe he made a mistake in this scene. And if that is the case, then I would need you to explain to me what you think he could have done alternatively in this moment.
To answer this question, I have to explain what a reference frame is. A reference frame, in the context I am currently using it, essentially boils down to a point of view. As you can see in this image, there is a number on the ground, but based on the frame of reference, one person thinks it's a 6 and the other believes it to be a 9. This perfectly illustrates how people can see the same thing, but come to different conclusions based on their frame of reference. As a member of the audience, we are watching a movie that bears the name Doctor Strange. So as the audience, because we are watching a movie called Doctor Strange, generally speaking, we take the side of that character, and all his actions that lead to a particular conclusion can be rationalized as good because of our frame of reference. However, the character of Mordo has a different frame of reference, and we are told his position explicitly. Under no circumstances is the time gem to be used in the way Strange uses it. Now we, the audience, believe that Strange saved the day in that moment, and because he is the protagonist in our frame of reference, we side with him and say that's what he should have done. But from Mordo's perspective, Strange's actions have untold consequences that may even be worse than what Dormammu had in store. Now, after Kang's appearance in the MCU, we have more context on why messing around with time could potentially be a bigger deal than Dormammu's invasion of Earthrealm. So, to answer your question, Strange could have let Dormammu win. Again, speaking from the perspective of Mordo, that seems to be preferable to breaking the time continuum, and as we are later shown, this event causes Mordo to become a villain, and Dormammu returns anyway, as we are shown at the end of Multiverse of Madness, probably aided by Mordo. So in reality, the can was just kicked down the road, and Strange will have to find another way to defeat Dormammu since he no longer has the time gem, something he potentially could have done in the first Doctor Strange.
But that's literally what I was talking about when I was talking about playing.
His first film had him playing around with the time gem, and as a result, Mordo became a villain.
Birdman, I don't know if anyone told you this, but these are two different scenes that take place roughly 50 minutes apart.
That doesn't matter. Is this your first Everything Wrong with CinemaSins video? I condense points down to a palatable amount so that people don't click off the video. You know, like the vast majority of the people that watched your video on me. I'd love to see the audience retention on this thing. In any case, you are both completely aware of what the hell I was saying. Let's stop playing stupid, okay? This video is long enough. Unless, of course, you aren't playing, in which case I could recommend someone.
But arguably, the best part about revisiting this film to fact-check your smug, condescending, and insufferably inconsistent prostate exam you call a video.
Well, well, well. Here we have an instance of the pot calling the kettle a pot. I've never interacted with you before, and basically you have done nothing in this video but insult me, strawman my arguments, call my points copium, go on insane rants, and still not actually refute a damn thing I've said. Objectively, anyway, I'm sure you think you have. One of us does have a bad video. The other is me.
I really should put the warnings before the spell.
Oh. He realized that despite following the book's instructions down to a T, he should have read the warnings first. And that was only because they were listed after the spell, not because he made a mistake, like ignoring it on purpose. So he learned his lesson about reviewing warnings prior to casting spells, and even pokes fun at Caecilius dying from not doing this.
But you're literally making a video about Strange doing this exact thing in Spider-Man No Way Home.
You were this close again! Birdman, you fucking moron! That's the problem! Strange is being a clueless asshole, which is inconsistent with how the first film ends.
And my contention with you two is that no, the hell he isn't. Again, the scene from Thor Ragnarok was filmed at the same time as the first Doctor Strange movie and was in fact included as a mid-credit scene of the first movie. In my video explaining the characterization of Strange, I demonstrate that Strange is still being characterized the way you two numpties say he isn't.
So, here is the baseline for Doctor Strange's personality as established in his first movie. He will not only blindly perform magic without properly thinking what the consequences might be, he will also use that magic knowing what the consequences could be if he believes the ends justify the means. If we use his canonical second appearance, Strange is not only humorously forgetful...
I suppose we'll need my brother back. Oh, yeah, right.
I have been falling for 30 minutes!
He also performs spells to help people without properly explaining to them the details of that magic.
My father is no longer in exile, so if you could tell me where he is, I can take him home. Gladly.
Just seeing whether this incantation requires any Asgardian modifications. Nope. Can I need just one strand of your hair.
My hair is not to be meddled with. Ah! Could have just walked.
Basically, you are saying he broke characterization in his first film, where they are establishing characterization. And even if you want to break these two films into two separate entities, Ragnarok is Strange's second canonical appearance, not No Way Home. Again, you people have an issue with something that has been established as late as 2017.
All of this character development and growth has just been squandered by only a handful of actions, and you think that is okay because you are actively ignoring the elements of his character which contradict your understanding of who Strange is. You are a bumbling buffoon and you need to revise your arguments.
And here we have the fundamental issue with you people and your understanding of the Everything Wrong with CinemaSins series. I am not defending these movies. I do not believe anything is okay or not okay. I explain these things. What you are reacting to is me offering explanations, not justifications. I have my own series where I criticize film. That isn't the purpose of these videos. I am simply refuting the declarations made by CinemaSins by offering context, evidence, and answers for questions. I tell a few jokes here and there, but the purpose is to criticize CinemaSins. These movies are simply the window dressing.
But now in hindsight, we know that surrendering the stone in exchange for Tony's life was, again, the only choice Strange had if he wanted a chance at undoing the blip and killing Thanos.
Madvocate again highlights the nature of Strange's commitment to being a sorcerer and explains why he would choose to secure the stone instead of destroying it. Not that there is any evidence he can destroy the stone, since by this point in the series, the only confirmed methods of destroying the stones are by using the stones themselves through the usage of a snap or conduits of the stone's own power. And while I could sit here analyzing Infinity War to an obscene degree, picking apart all of its many problems, Madvocate is still correct in saying that from a narrative perspective, Strange had only one viable option, which was surrendering the stone.
Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Madvocate is not correct that Strange only had one viable option, and you are simply repeating a bad talking point even after having clearly watched both of my videos on this topic. Put simply, Strange had viable options at the point at which Bruce Banner crashed into the Sanctum. Based on the fact that Strange sought out the help of Tony Stark, we know that Strange questioned Banner and asked him what the hell happened, to which he would have presumably explained Thanos. In Infinity War, Strange then goes to find Tony. My contention is that was Strange making a mistake. On Titan, Strange shows the ability to look into the future using the Time Gem. This means it's an ability he knows he has. My question was, after speaking with Bruce, why didn't Strange look into the future at that point? He would have presumably saw the events play out the way in which we, the audience, saw Infinity War play out, and conclude that not only could the Time Gem be destroyed, he'd see ways in which the gems could be destroyed, such as Wanda using her magic on Vision at the climax of Infinity War. Then he would conclude that the best course of action would not be to seek out Tony Stark, but to use his portal to save Vision and Wanda before Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive launched their attack, use Vision's Mind Gem to destroy the Time Gem, and potentially have Wanda destroy Vision's Mind Gem. Thanos is now down 2 Infinity Gems and cannot complete the gauntlet with no way to reverse time and bring the gems back. Thor's making Stormbreaker, which was shown to overpower the fully completed gauntlet. You have a healthy Scarlet Witch who has shown the capacity to potentially defeat Thanos by herself, and if Wanda refuses to destroy Vision's Mind Gem, Vision has the capability to kill Thanos as well. That is a win for the Avengers, and all Strange had to do was use an ability he's aware he has. Looking into the future. So, what you two nincompoops are doing is using the film's events as they played out, whereas I'm presenting a viable hypothetical that proves Strange's characterization is consistent. Seriously, debunk what I just said. You can't, because
it works, bitches.
You literally show a scene of Tony Stark telling Strange to destroy the gem before they get into a fight with Ebony Maw.
And in that scene, both Wong and Strange tell Tony that it is their sacred duty as sorcerers to protect the Time Stone at all costs.
And why do you think this is a refutation of my point here? You're actually making my point. To reiterate, I am the one saying that Strange is making a mistake here, but that this mistake is a part of his characterization. Even at the point at which Tony is in the Sanctum, he could have made the decision to look into the future after he was told to destroy the Time Gem. As you just said, he refuses and states that it's his duty to protect it. All you are doing is reiterating Strange's mistake. After having listened to the hypothetical I just presented, and now having gained the knowledge that destroying the gem had no ill consequences for this timeline after Endgame, how are you still arguing that this is not a mistake and that Strange is thinking clearly here? Why doesn't he look into the future at this point in time, or back when Bruce explained Thanos to him? Because he doesn't think before he acts, which is the problem you both have with Strange in No Way Home, which of course makes him consistent. Seriously, you people are arguing hypotheticals that Strange could have done in No Way Home and get mad at the hypothetical I presented that he could have done in Infinity War. You people are the hypocrites.
As for why he would engage Ebony Maw, I'm sorry, but did you think he was just going to put innocent people's lives at risk just so he can go and play hide and seek with a green marble?
It's at this point that the people in the comment section of this video should begin to question Shandy's integrity. Remember, I am not arguing that Strange would let innocent lives be in danger. That's a straw man. But that his course of actions could have prevented a larger catastrophe. You see, Shandy is arguing that Strange comes out to fight because of Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf. What Shandy is forgetting is that they are literally here for Doctor Strange. So even in this caricature of my argument that he's presenting, why would Maw and Dwarf be taking innocent lives here if Strange is no longer there? Let's say Strange did run away here. Why would they remain in this section of New York instead of simply leaving and searching for where Strange went? And you have the gall to call me a buffoon. What I was saying was that Strange had options before Maw even showed up. In that hypothetical where Strange is playing hide and seek with a marble. Remember, Wong, Tony, and then later Spider-Man are holding Ma and Dorf at bay. Strange could even then portal to somewhere safe, look into the future, see the outcome of this fight, and act accordingly. He has the fucking time gem. He put Dormammu in a time loop, yet somehow never thought to do that to Ma and Dorf. He could have seen what would happen to Vision and the Witch in Wakanda, and since we know the portals can locate people, portal to them in Scotland brought him back to the States to help fight Ma and Dorf, probably killing both of them in New York. Do you see how using that grain of sand you call a brain could actually help you understand my arguments instead of getting pissy that I had the audacity to debunk your guy?
There are multiple actions and spells Strange could have implemented in this fight, such as his Shadow Clone Jutsu trick or simply trapping Maul in the mirror dimension. However, in this fight, Strange gets taken out of commission relatively quickly, with Maul restricting his movements and knocking him unconscious, which prevents Strange from using his more versatile spells.
It's almost like he shouldn't have been out there fighting and that using his brain would have prevented all of that.
Deciding to stay and fight might have been a questionable decision, in hindsight, which is a bias that we do not allow here.
This is yet another example of the dishonesty from you people. Why the fuck would we not allow hindsight here? First of all, who are you? Nobody gives a fuck what you allow. We are talking about someone that has the ability to look at and manipulate time. That is quite literally the superpower of hindsight.
But now in hindsight, we know that surrendering the stone in exchange for Tony's life was, again, the only choice Strange had if he wanted a chance at undoing the blip and killing Thanos.
Madvokit again highlights the nature of Strange's commitment to being a sorcerer and explains why he would choose to secure the stone instead of destroying it.
Further, at the point in which I made my video, Endgame had already been out and we already knew he could look through time and the ramifications of destroying the gems. The only reason you're saying you don't allow it is because you recognized I had a point, but your bias does not allow you to admit I did. The people on your side should find that highly concerning.
It is entirely within Strange's character to assist people in battle if he possesses the means to do so. And considering he attempted to use the Time Stone after being overpowered by Morse telekinesis, you cannot argue that Strange was being arrogant in the scene, because he is being 100% serious the entire time. Birdman, you are advocating for Strange being character assassinated by suggesting he shouldn't assist the Avengers in battle. What the fuck are you inhaling because it is not oxygen?
For the umpteenth time, I am the one saying Strange is behaving in character. I am not asking him to do these things. I'm saying they would have been a better course of action, only he didn't take them because in character, he doesn't think these things through. The hypotheticals would be him actually thinking. Are you forgetting that you and Madvokit are the ones arguing that he was acting out of character in No Way Home? I am demonstrating that he's behaving the same by not avoiding the battle, by not using his brain and the powerful tools he has available to him, by acting rashly. This is what makes you a shit tuber. You can't keep up with the discussion, you have terrible comprehension skills, and you feel you need to resort to calling me out of my name to make it seem like you have even an iota of a point. You don't.
Had he destroyed the gem there, instead of trying to fight, Thanos would not have won.
A sorcerer's sacred duty. 4 simple words you seem to continue to ignore for no explicable reason, despite proclaiming to have seen this film.
What point are you even trying to make there? This is why this video is long. You're just rambling incoherent nothingness that doesn't make sense. Despite proclaiming to have seen this film? Do you think I haven't seen Infinity War? What kind of kitty litter do you huff? Again, this is one of the mistakes that Strange made due to not utilizing an ability he has. Had he seen the future, he would have known it was okay to destroy the time gem. What are you not understanding about this? The time gem is currently destroyed and the universe is just fine without it. We already know Strange had the capability to see how the events played out in Endgame, so he would see that and recognize that the gem would be destroyed anyway. Hello? God, I can't take any more of this low IQ dribble. Maybe I'll come back to the rest of this BS at a later time. Maybe not.